Stop, seniors. Here are 9 foods you should never keep in the fridge. This is the reason. What if every day your refrigerator is subtly harming your health? Doesn't that sound impossible? 9 typical foods, however, are concealed inside that cool box and have unfavorable refrigeration reactions that most seniors are unaware of. Taste and texture aren't the only factors here. It concerns bacterial growth, nutrient loss, and hazardous chemical changes brought on by cold storage. The frightening thing comes next. Ignorant of the harm these meals are causing to their stomach, heart, and even brain, more than 99% of adults over 60 continue to refrigerate them. According to some experts, the current fixation on refrigeration might be a factor in the increase of chronic illnesses. Today, however, we reveal the true science. The 9 things you should never keep in the refrigerator will be revealed in this video, along with the straightforward facts about how to store them properly. And wait until we tell you about the second item on our list. You may be most shocked by it. All of our arguments are supported by peer-reviewed research. All of the sources are linked in the description that follows. Before we get started, tell us in the comments section below how old you are and whether you've noticed any changes in texture or flavor when you've refrigerated particular foods. We are reviewing each and every feedback and providing tailored guidance and recommendations. For more videos like this, remember to subscribe to our channel and like this one. Now, let's get started without further ado. Potatoes are number 9. This is something that may surprise you. When you put potatoes in your refrigerator, you're essentially manufacturing a poisonous substance. I'm not making this up. The cool temperature turns the potato starches into sugars through a process called cold-induced sweetening. This isn't just about flavor. When you cook these cold potatoes at high heat, the sugars mix with amino acids to generate acrylamide. The International Agency for Research on Cancer defines acrylamide as a potential human carcinogen. According to a University of Idaho study, potatoes kept in a refrigerator had a 300% rise in sugar content in just 2 weeks. That's 3 times as much sugar, and it happens far more quickly than you may imagine. More than 500 potato samples were evaluated by the researchers, and the outcomes were the same for every variety. The texture also shifts. Your potatoes will become gritty and unpleasantly sweet due to the breakdown of cell structure caused by cold temperatures. Have you ever wondered why sometimes your mashed potatoes don't taste right? You know now. They are being cellularly destroyed by the refrigerator. What is the best way to keep potatoes? Store them between 45 and 50 degrees Fahrenheit in a cool, dark location. It works well in a cellar, pantry, or even a cardboard box in a closet. Darkness is the key. The green substance that makes potatoes toxic, solanine, is produced in response to light. Toxic, indeed. They should be kept in an airtight basket or paper bag. Avoid using plastic bags at all costs. They lead to decay by retaining moisture. Most people are unaware of this professional tip. Keep potatoes apart from onions in storage. Gases released by both veggies cause the other to deteriorate more quickly. They should be separated by at least 3 feet. Potatoes can last up to 3 months if stored properly. They will spoil in 2 weeks in the refrigerator. The 8th number. Bread. This one surprises everyone. In fact, your bread is becoming stale more quickly because of your refrigerator. The science is obvious, but it sounds backwards. The retrogradation of starch is accelerated by refrigeration. It's a fancy word for the process by which starch molecules crystallize and expel moisture. Bread kept at refrigerator temperatures deteriorates 6 times more quickly than bread kept at room temperature, according to research from the Institute of Food Technologists. 6 times. After measuring the breadcrumb's firmness over time, they discovered that bread kept in the refrigerator hardened and crumbled in just 3 days. Room temperature bread stayed fresh for a full week. The cold temperature also destroys the bread's natural flavor compounds. The wonderful scent of fresh bread is a result of such volatile organic chemicals. When exposed to cold, they decompose quickly. When bread from the refrigerator tastes like cardboard, your taste buds aren't playing tricks. Bread is best kept at room temperature in a paper bag or bread box. The container should have enough moisture to keep the bread soft, but still allow enough air movement to avoid mold. If you can't finish a loaf within a week, here's what you do. Slice it first, then freeze it. Since freezing occurs so fast, ice crystals don't have time to weaken the bread's structure, making it a superior method of preservation than refrigeration. When you need bread, just pop frozen pieces right into the toaster. Their flavor will be nearly identical to that of fresh. Going directly from the freezer to the toaster is crucial. Keep them from thawing first. Moisture concerns begin at that point. Number 7. Honey. Perhaps the most ideal food found in nature is honey. It never, ever spoils. Archaeologists have uncovered 3,000-year-old honey in Egyptian tombs that was still edible. However, you will spoil it within weeks if you keep it in the refrigerator. Honey crystallizes quickly in cold temperatures. This alters the honey completely, yet it's not hazardous. The silky golden liquid turns into a gritty, hard lump that won't dissolve correctly. More significantly, your honey container may get wet from refrigeration. Condensation appears each time you open the cold jar. Honey's adversary is that wetness. According to a National Honey Board research, honey loses up to 35% of its antibacterial qualities when kept at temperatures lower than 50 degrees Fahrenheit. These substances are what give honey its inherent antibacterial properties. Ancient cultures utilized honey to cure wounds because of these characteristics. Your refrigerator is destroying them. Additionally, the flavor profile shifts. Honey has over 180 distinct chemicals that provide its unique taste. Cold storage causes these chemicals to break down unevenly. Your pricey raw honey begins to taste like cheap syrup. Honey should be kept in a tightly sealed container at room temperature. 64 to 75 degrees. Fahrenheit is the optimal temperature range. Avoid exposing it to direct sunlight as this can deteriorate its quality. Don't discard your honey if it crystallizes. Put the jar in the warm water and give it a gentle toss. It will revert to its liquid state without losing its advantageous qualities. The majority of people are unaware of this. Honey's antioxidant concentration is indicated by its color. Antioxidants are more abundant in darker honey, yet dark honey is more negatively impacted by chilling than light honey. Cold temperatures are especially harmful to those priceless antioxidants. Coffee is number 6. Get ready, coffee drinkers. You're ruining that pricey coffee that you keep in the refrigerator. Here's why the refrigerator is coffee's deadliest enemy. Coffee beans are highly porous. They absorb odors and flavors from everything around them. The smells of that forgotten cheese, leftover Chinese cuisine, and who knows what else are filling your refrigerator. Your coffee is soaking it all up like a sponge. Your morning brew tastes strange because of this. However, odor absorption is only the first step. The beans get condensation from your refrigerator's frequent temperature changes. This dampness can lead to mold growth and accelerated aging. According to a Specialty Coffee Association study, coffee beans that are chilled lose 60% of their aromatic components in just 1 week. The majority of the flavor of coffee beans is found in their oils, which solidify in cold weather. These hardened oils are not adequately extracted during brewing when cold beans are ground. You're left with coffee that tastes nothing like it should, weak and flavorless. Coffee should be kept at room temperature in an airtight container. But not just any container. Light deteriorates the quality of coffee, thus it must be opaque. A temperature range of 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit with little variation is good for storage. Purchase coffee in little amounts that you will consume in the next 2 weeks. The minute you open a bag, time runs out. The other enemy of coffee is oxygen. Although some coffee lovers utilize vacuum-sealed containers, it's really better to buy fresh and enjoy it right away. The freezer is actually preferable to the refrigerator if you must store coffee for an extended period of time. There's a catch, though. It can only be frozen once. Only take out what you need from your weekly quantities of coffee, which should be frozen in airtight bags. Coffee should never be refrozen. Repeated freezing and thawing causes irreparable moisture damage. Fifth, garlic. Keeping garlic in the fridge is a recipe for trouble. It not only loses its effectiveness, but also has the potential to become harmful. Let me explain why this is important, particularly for elderly people who depend on the health advantages of garlic. Garlic starts to sprout when kept in the refrigerator. Not only are those green shoots ugly, they might upset your stomach and are bitter. It's hardly the worst part, though. Mold can form on garlic because of the refrigerator's chilly, damp conditions. Mycotoxins are extremely dangerous substances that are produced by certain of these molds. Within 10 days, garlic that has been refrigerated loses half of its allicin level, according to research from the University of California, Davis. The substance that gives garlic its therapeutic qualities is called allicin. It is the reason garlic has antiviral, antibacterial, and heart-healthy properties. You are literally wasting half of the benefits of garlic when you refrigerate it. The texture also degrades. Garlic becomes mushy and difficult to slice properly in cold weather because its cell walls are broken down. Have you ever tried chopping chilled garlic? It becomes a paste and adheres to everything. Garlic should be kept dry, cold, and well ventilated. A mesh basket or bag is ideal. Between 60 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit is the ideal temperature. Garlic should never be kept in sealed containers or plastic. It must breathe. Garlic can grow bitter if it is exposed to direct sunlight. Additionally, keep it away from the stove. It will sprout more quickly because to the heat and humidity from cooking. A whole head of garlic can last for up to 6 months if stored properly. For optimal quality, use the cloves within 10 days of breaking the head open. This tip will transform your cooking. Garlic releases its tastes more easily at room temperature than when it is cold. The flavor-carrying essential oils must be liquid rather than cold solidified. Properly preserved garlic will add a noticeable flavor to your recipes. The fourth item is bananas. Refrigerators and bananas go hand in hand like clockwork. A banana will become a mushy black mess if you put it in the refrigerator. However, the harm extends far beyond appearance. Scientists refer to the cold temperature as chilling damage. Bananas are tropical fruits that never encountered cold in their natural home. Their cells literally can't tolerate it. Enzymes escape, cell membranes burst, and the fruit starts to decompose within. Bananas stored below 56 degrees Fahrenheit lose 80% of their vitamin C content in 5 days, according to a Queensland Department of Agriculture study. Additionally, they cease generating fresh nutrients. As they ripen, bananas often continue to produce healthy components. Refrigeration fully stops this process. Not only is the black skin unsightly, it signifies the failure of the fruit's defense mechanisms. The fruit tissue has died in those brown patches. Even if you can't see it yet, mold and bacteria can grow in dead tissue. Bananas should be kept at room temperature, preferably between 56 and 70 degrees F. In order to avoid bruises, hang them from a banana hook. The ethylene gas they create has to circulate around the fruit for optimum ripening. Here's a trick supermarkets don't want you to know. The rate at which bananas ripen is under your control. Place them in a paper bag with an apple to hasten the ripening process. Separate the bunch and cover each stem in plastic wrap to halt the ripening process. Up to 40% less ethylene gas is released as a result. Bananas can be kept in the refrigerator for a maximum of 1 or 2 days after they are at their ideal ripeness. The inside remains fine, but the skin will turn black. Peel and freeze them for smoothies even better. Frozen bananas really make better smoothies than fresh ones because they offer a creamy texture without using ice. Third place. Onions. Keeping onions in the refrigerator may be the most common storage error individuals make. The harm is irreparable and occurs instantly. This is what occurs when you shut the refrigerator door. Your refrigerator usually has a humidity level of 95%. Onions require a humidity of 65% or less. The extra moisture seeps through the onion's papery outer layers, providing the ideal conditions for the formation of mold. Black mold on onions produces aflatoxins, which are some of the most dangerous chemicals known to science. However, the chilly temperature turns the starches in the onion into sugars before any mold even grows. According to a Texas University study, after 2 weeks, the sugar level of refrigerated onions increased by 270%. Their cooking qualities and flavor profile are totally altered as a result. You'll think your French onion soup is dessert. Ice crystals develop inside the cells and force them to burst, giving the texture a soft, mushy consistency. When this occurs, the onion can no longer caramelize correctly. Those gorgeous golden brown onions you see in restaurants, unattainable with refrigerated onions. Store entire onions in a cool, dry, well-ventilated place. It's best in a cellar or pantry. The ideal temperature range is 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit. They should never be kept in plastic bags. Onions must be able to breathe. You can use a mesh bag, basket, or even pantyhose. Keep potatoes and onions apart. I've said this before, but it's worth saying again. They produce gases that ruin each other. Additionally, keep them out of direct sunlight since this promotes sprouting. Everything is different after you cut an onion. Cut onions should be stored in the refrigerator in an airtight container and used within 7 days. The cut surface is sensitive to microorganisms, hence chilling becomes important. However, never keep whole onions in the refrigerator. Tomatoes come in second. We have arrived at the dish that will surprise you the most: tomatoes. Many individuals find the reality of chilling tomatoes so unsettling that they don't want to believe it. However, the science is indisputable. A remarkable finding was made by researchers at the University of Florida. Not only does refrigeration change the texture and flavor of tomatoes, but it also disables their genes. In particular, the genes that produce flavor compounds. These genes never fully recover once they shut down. Even if you take the tomato out and let it warm up, the harm is permanent. The study evaluated over 25,000 genes in tomatoes and discovered that temperatures below 54 degrees Fahrenheit deactivated hundreds of them. The tomato physically stops being a tomato at the genetic level. It turns into a nutritionally worthless crimson water balloon. For seniors, this is where things get truly serious. One of the best sources of lycopene, a potent antioxidant that guards against heart disease and several types of cancer, is tomatoes. A 65% reduction in lycopene availability is not the only effect of cold storage. In order for your body to absorb lycopene, it must be combined with specific enzymes. Even the remaining 35% of these enzymes are rendered worthless by refrigeration, which totally kills them. Under a microscope, the texture damage is discernible. Microscopic punctures are made throughout the fruit by ice crystals that form between the cell walls. This explains why tomatoes that are kept in the refrigerator get grainy and mealy. The inner of the cell structure has been torn apart. Thus, tomatoes should be kept stem side down at room temperature. By doing this, bacteria cannot enter and moisture cannot pass through the stem scar. 55 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit is the recommended temperature range. Avoid hiding them in a dark cupboard, but keep them out of direct sunlight. They need indirect light to sustain their nutrients. Avoid using plastic bags to keep tomatoes. They emit ethylene gas, which must be released. If trapped, this gas accelerates rotting. Within a day, a single rotting tomato in a plastic bag might ruin a whole crop. Use ripe tomatoes within 3 to 5 days. Make sauce and freeze it if you have too many. In fact, lycopene is more readily available in cooked tomato products than in raw tomatoes, and it is perfectly preserved by freezing. First place. Avocados. The most crucial has been reserved for last. Avocados. It should be illegal what happens to avocados in the refrigerator. The destruction is so complete, so devastating, that it makes all the other foods look like minor issues in comparison. More than 20 vital elements can be found in avocados. They are among the few fruits that contain good fats, particularly oleic acid, which is essential for older people's brain function. Lipid peroxidation, however, is the mechanism by which refrigeration breaks down these fats. The lipids oxidize quickly in the cold, producing toxic free radicals rather than healthy nutrients. Stanford University researchers showed that refrigerated avocados lost 90% of their antioxidant potential within 4 days. 90%. Avocados are extremely beneficial for aging bodies because of their antioxidants, which also include vitamins E and C. They promote eye health, reduce inflammation, and increase the absorption of nutrients from other diets. Here's the really startling bit, though. The ripening process is not simply stopped by the chilly temperature. It triggers an enzyme that aggressively kills the fruit from within. This enzyme, polyphenol oxidase, is the same one that causes browning. But in the cold, it works over time, breaking down cell walls and turning healthful molecules into bitter, potentially dangerous substances. The texture alteration is irrevocable. Those creamy, silky avocados become stringy, watery letdowns. It is impossible to properly mash the greasy mess that results from the fats separating from the fiber. Before you begin, your guacamole will be ruined. Unripe avocados should be kept at room temperature, preferably between 65 and 75 degrees F. Instead of putting them in a zippered bag, put them in a bowl on your counter. For them to ripen correctly, air movement is necessary. Put them in a paper bag with a banana to hasten the ripening process. The banana's ethylene gas can reduce the ripening period by half. Once ripe, avocados can be refrigerated for a maximum of 2 to 3 days if absolutely necessary. However, there is a noticeable reduction of quality. To ensure that you always have perfectly ripe avocados on hand, it is preferable to purchase them at various stages of ripeness. Here's the trick if you cut an avocado and can't utilize it all. Brush the exposed flesh with lemon juice and reserve the pit in the unused half. Keep it with an onion slice in an airtight container. The onion's sulfur components stop browning without changing flavor. Using this technique, cut avocados can be stored at room temperature for up to 2 days. An avocado that has been preserved properly is very different from one that has been refrigerated. Proper storage retains those brain-boosting fats, maintains the creamy texture, and keeps all those age-fighting elements intact. Your body will reward you. At the end, the truth about refrigeration has been hidden for too long. These 9 items amount to incalculable lost nutrition and thousands of dollars worth of wasted groceries. More significantly, they stand for lost chances to improve our health during our golden years. When it comes to keeping healthy, preventing aging, and preserving cognitive function, every vitamin matters. keep your efforts from being undermined by your refrigerator. Reclaim the full nutritious value of these foods by properly storing them. You now know how to give your body the greatest care possible since it deserves nothing less. We'd like to hear from you now. Which of these foods most surprised you? And have you been keeping it in the refrigerator for years without realizing the harm? Please leave your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. We enjoy listening to them. Thank you for viewing.